Professor Brad Jensen of Georgetown University has assembled statistics on this aspect, and in the year 2000, the top 1% of U.S. exporting firms, which was about 1,600 firms, less than 1/10 of all U.S. firms, accounted for 80% of U.S. merchandise exports, and there is absolutely no reason to think this picture has changed much in the last decade. Small business firms are conspicuously underrepresented in the U.S. export picture, largely because of the fixed cost obstacles I have mentioned. And bearing these obstacles in mind, let me offer 3 suggestions that are targeted at small business. My first suggestion is that the Congress should require the administration to provide a quantitative annual report of past performance and future expectations of small business exports. Among its features, this report should specifically identify the expected contribution of each of the administration's promotion measures. My second suggestion is to boost very substantially the availability of export finance to small business firms. This cannot be done through the Export-Import Bank, both because the Export-Import Bank financing is limited by an array of congressional mandates, which are quite complicated, and because the XPM lending process itself is very complex. A better approach is to create significant tax incentives for private banks to support the export financing needs of small business firms, both on a pre-shipment basis and once goods and services are sold. And towards that end, I suggest, and I go into it in my testimony, that private banks be allowed to establish very large loan loss reserves for new export-related loans extended to small business firms. My third suggestion is to bolster the information and technical assistance programs offered to small business exporters by the Small Business Administration and the Department of Commerce. I concur with what was said about the Agricultural Department as well. In 2008, I was a guest of the Hong Kong government and saw quite a few things there, but a particular note was an agency devoted to library resources for small business firms from Hong Kong, which are big exporters from that small city-state, and it was backed up by technical experts. It is very impressive, and I do not know that the U.S. government matches that level of expertise, and evaluation would be useful. The SBA and the Commerce Department are staffed by knowledgeable people, but I would suggest an external evaluation by a firm like McKinsey or Monitor, there are many others, as to improvements which might be done. And I would finally comment that small business exports cannot be doubled on the back of a public relations campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hufbauer. Our next witness is Mr. Philip Bond. He is the President and CEO of Tech America. Mr. Bond has held his role since 2006 and previously served as an Undersecretary in the Department of Commerce. Tech America represents nearly 1,500 technology member companies of all sizes. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chairwoman Velasquez and Ranking Member Graves. A privilege to appear before you. As was noted by the Chair, Tech America represents some 1,500 companies across the entire scope of the technology industry. That industry relies on trade for investment, for innovation, for growth, for job creation. About 17% of U.S. exports are high-tech exports. And of those high-tech exporters, 94% are small business. About 1 out of 4 total small business exporters in the country, 1 out of 4 of them are high-tech small businesses. A couple of examples, if I can, real quickly, that illustrate this. Authentech is a small American high-tech company in Florida. In 2008, it reported they do sophisticated biometric sensor chips. They grew by about 13% in 2008, which is 15 jobs for that company. Their primary customers, Samsung, Toshiba, Lenovo, Fujitsu, 97% of their sales go overseas. Another example out of Illinois, PCTEL is a small high-tech company, a very active exporter. It designs products and solutions for the wireless industry. 45% of PCTEL's 2008 sales came from outside the United States. These examples, I hope, illustrate why it's important that the U.S. facilitate business opportunities for small business in overseas markets and eliminate impediments. So Tech America supports an active open market policy through bilateral, regional, and multilateral trade agreements. We believe these assist exports in several fundamental ways, which my written testimony goes into more detail on, but certainly eliminating and reducing tariffs, just as important, non-tariff barriers, standards, and other things that are often used by other countries to close a market. Improving intellectual property protection, those are the crown jewels of these small companies. Streamlining trade facilitation, and facilitating in this day and age open internet access and cybersecurity, because software services is really the fastest growing portion of high-tech employment. Secondly, we need to look at U.S. policies that could help small businesses grow their exports. This would include reforming export controls. Small companies generally are not equipped to deal with the complexities of our export control regimes. We are encouraged by the steps being taken by the administration in this regard. And as the chair noted in her opening statement, trade promotion is critically important and tough for small businesses. They have their hands full finding reliable business partners, navigating local laws and cultures, lining up financing, understanding the market. And we recognize while there are many programs designed to help them, that the awareness and understanding of those leaves something to be desired. More could be done, better funding provided to try to help promote trade from small companies. Small business innovation and new firm formulation ensure U.S. products and services remain at the cutting edge. That is our only hope as a country. We don't want to compete on wage. We want to compete on innovation and new products. And so we hope that the chair and the members of the committee would take some of these thoughts and the details of the written submission into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. And last but not least, Mr. Drew Greenblatt. He is the president of Marlin Steel Wire Products located in Baltimore, Maryland. Mr. Greenblatt is testifying